All right, five.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Off the Deep End, where we are having another segment with Ivan. Ivan is once again an ET channeler extraordinaire and a channeler of basically everything else he can think of. Tonight we are having a Halloween edition of Off the Deep End, and we'll see what comes through, but I think it's going to be the MIB, and hey, that's exciting. So, without further ado, welcome, Ivan.
Whoa, greetings.
Greetings. How are you?
Doing good. I just want to let people know that, this will be on my YouTube channel. I don't want people to think this is the MIB YouTube channel now, so just so people know. So this is just it's to explain a bit more about this MIB connections, to give it more of giving more of their air to speak. And like the reptilians, they're seen as very bad, because of the David Icke version of it. So they seem to be, it's nice to see their point of view. So I think so. That's why tugging their chain seems to be a good idea for the most part.
Oh yeah, I don't mean to offend anybody, but if you do not know what MIB means, it's basically the acronym for Men in Black.
Yeah, it's not. You can find little bits here and there on the internet. It's not like the movie. Well, somewhat, but that's why they made a movie. There's certain reasons. I don't know if you have your ideas of why they did that, but
I think it's like karmic stuff. Like whoever they are, have to tell us the truth to a degree or something like it, but it's up to us to figure it out.
Yeah, it's a parody on us too, you can say, in some regards. Like, hey, look what's going on. You guys think it's all fake.
You're too busy watching Jessica.
The movie came from, it was a comic book, and that came from stories of the MIB. That's where all, and the comic book was actually quite violent, where the MIB actually killed the people that saw aliens or something like that. It's in the comic, something like that. So they kind of gave it more of a family-friendly version than the movie version.
Oh, that's very nice.
I think the comic kind of cooled all that off eventually, but yeah, that was it was pretty violent comic book, at least in that.
More palatable too.
Yeah, it wasn't really for kids. It just it wasn't very popular. It was in Malibu Comics, if I remember. I think it's part of Marvel, I think.
So you really have to dig for it if you wanted to find out about it.
Yeah, it's only some. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd's had connections with we've seen them. Let's put it that way. So yeah.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
a lot of our comics from the past, like your 50s and 60s era, they have a theme of basically the damsel in distress being abducted by aliens, and I guess there's some things that are being done with her by a while, like the man, I guess, who's supposed to be her knight in shining armor, being detained, that kind of thing. So there's kind of like a history of like programming. I guess humanity to believe that anything outside of this earth is like horrible.
Yeah, one thing about the MIB, I can tell you what I'm kind of getting. First off, Agent N, I can start seeing visualizations of him like over here. I've been wearing a suit. He's like very skinny, has a pale, skinny white face. I can find a visualization. I can find something online, but it's quite. And what I feel is that they're assembled on other worlds. It's Palladian. It is run by reptilians, but it's run by other beings also. And it's malevolent. Some of it's not all malevolent, but quite a bit can be. They're all over the place.
So every world has, to a degree,
has something there, yeah. So they have some sort of their agendas are different in different worlds, but for ours is
depending on the vibration and I guess whatever needs to be carried out and what people need not know or need to know.
Yeah, because they're going to give me like different versions. It's like they're making money, corporations are making money doing this and that, whatever. So if they bring in an alien or something, it's kind of like mess with their money stream a little bit. So they kind of keep the aliens out altogether. They can probably figure out a way of bringing them in peacefully.
Yeah.
But why do that when you're running the world?
Yeah, true.
When you're king of a planet, why would you want to bring something else in to make everybody nice to each other and friendly?
I know. We thrive on divisions.
Yeah, so.
You need people to be mad at each other so that they can have heart attacks so that
Exactly.
they can make money.
Yeah, it's just anyway, go on and on about that. So anyway, all right, I can bring somebody through for the Halloween special. Happy Halloween, MIB.
To talk about our headless headless horseman and Thirsty Hollow. Yes.
So, all right, here we go. Okay. All right, going meditation mode, grounding, and I'll see you in a few. So, if you want to chat, go for it. Yep. Thank you.
And once again, you're listening to another edition of Off the Deep End. We're having our segment with Ivan, and he is grounding, and we're going to see if the Men in Black.
Greetings, good day.
Greetings.
Yes. This is N when the M greetings. Yes. Yeah, we're a little bit different this time. We are working on our frequency with this one, becoming more friendlier.
That's great.
We're still adjusting to that friendliness. It is quite welcoming. If we are seen in a more positive way, it does help us be more positive to humanity. As we are growing just like you, we are figuring it all out. We don't have all the answers, but we are. Oh, anyway. So, yes, what is on your mind?
Yes, so we're having a Halloween edition of my show, Off the Deep End, which is on sportsovertime.com, by the way.
Good.
Plug. And we just wanted your thoughts on our Halloween and how that came to be and whatever else you want to tell humanity.
Our version of it was... It is, you can say, a control mechanism for at least humanity. Well, let's focus on the United States. As a way of making money, but also another way of awakening the spirit world. Realize that many aren't seeing your elites, we can say, and other spiritual beings of your nature, human, do many rituals on this day. It is you can say a day of awakening, talking to the dead, also removing old ways and casting it's like a birthday to some to renew oneself. Even the weather changes also. So it has a renewal base. It's like, yeah, I'll keep it PG-13, but I was just say that you're pretty not exactly the nicest person, and then you have been baptized or you cleared all of that karma out, and now you can start anew. In some ways, for some, this is the new year, depending, because it is a spiritual new year. It is a spiritual cleanse. Many do have sacrifices. Some do have a negative version of it, but also a positive, depending on who you connect to. But your elitists do celebrate this day quite all day, do their masquerades at night. Actually, some do celebrate it for a week or two before the Halloween day. It is, or the month for that matter, depending on who it is. It is a day of spiritual secrets, you could say. But as for a lot of it has to do with marketing for your humanity that needs to be entertained. If they went to just understand this is a spiritual holiday, those that say, oh, spirituality is all just nonsense, well, Halloween is a spiritual holiday. And so is your other holidays. All your holidays are all spiritual. Well, every day is spiritual, but these are spiritual holidays, whereas like black magic, other magic some believe it becomes more powerful on that day. It gives them more power, more abilities on that day. So you have your commercial version that keeps those that aren't mature enough or wanting to know the truth or hear it and just think it's all a bunch of BS. But also these horror movies are made to lower those vibrations of many. And they're not realizing actually that's what it's there for. Yes, to scare, but also to lower your vibration because you cannot pick up what they are doing. Those that are running your planet, you do not see what they are up to. And they do this on a daily basis, as you can tell. But with horror movies, as their energies rise, humanity's lowers because
kind of like they get energy high off of our lower vibrations.
Yes,
we're exposed to these movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is your elitists are energy vampires also. So yes, they get highs off of people in fear, and so yes, they know exactly what they're doing. It's all calculated quite well. All these holidays are calculated in a way, but your Halloween is definitely one that's calculated in a way where they build up energies that they can suck on, you can say, to some degree. They can connect to the higher realms also, what your humanity is far from connecting to. So they'd rather keep your humanity asleep also so they can screw with it. And, yes, yes, the films have sublime messages. Everything does. So everything. And they know how to activate it to make it more. When they need more energy, they spice it up a little bit, which is often.
By just like adding other events around Halloween, just to make it fear-based and stuff. But I could see the spiritual significance of the rebirth, like you were mentioning, because it's kind of like an opportunity for humanity to step outside themselves and like be something else, and just like there's a lot of positive energies too around Halloween, and you said that it's a spiritual occasion in some places, like for example Mexico, and a lot of people think this is weird, but Mexicans have the Day of the Dead, but they're basically remembering their loved ones and their ancestors. So it's more of a communion, you know, with the spirit world than it is a fear-based thing.
Exactly. It's just a misconception by humanity is because it is made to be seen as a fear base, is there to keep you away. If you're not understanding, then you can go and be away from it. So yes.
In some places, they have Day of the Dead, but it's a sad day, so they're like lowering their vibrations, whether they know it or not, to honor their dead, but they honor them by being sad instead of, you know, having it be a joyous occasion, remembering their loved ones.
Yes, many of your elitists, I go through them because it's easier to give examples. They also visualize themselves as other beings. Some actually visualize themselves as a dinosaur. Some are very connected to the dinosaur energies. They have dinosaur lifetimes, as for example. Some do connect to, yes, I know it's all crazy, but they do connect to those energies to make them feel more of who they feel like their soul is connected to, such as a unicorn or a bat or whatever it is, or a human. But a superhuman, a more perfect human, a Nordic human, or whatever that they feel that they are connected. Yes, they're incarnated in a human body, but they feel like there's so much more. And so they, on this day, and there's others, where they visualize themselves, they connect more. And that's another reason, wearing costumes and all of that. It's another way of, you're wearing these things because this is who I truly am. You might see it as a costume, but that's really who I am on the inside.
Oh, that's a great point. It's like them coming out for the world to see, you know. So if a kid wanted to be Superman every year until he was an adult, it's like, you know, Superman is just coming out to say hello.
Well, yes.
Who he is, or maybe
exactly. He was. And yes, and many dress up in these costumes and are doing the same thing. Yes, they're Iron Man or whatever it is, Superman, whatever it might be. So yes, and that is within them. They have a connection to that type of, yes, it might be fictionalized, but somewhere in the universe it is very much real, yes. More than you realize.
I had a niece that didn't want to take off her Little Mermaid outfit for a month, and then she got, then her sister had the Tinkerbell thing going. She didn't want to take that off.
Yes. There you go. Yes, that must be fascinating in your day-to-day culture. Yes.
Yeah, I think our youth are more true to themselves than the rest of us.
Some of them are, yeah. They're less. Well, they have identity crisis. Being human is not as dull, so they dress up to be something they much rather be. At least humanity, in its culture-wise, is dull. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I guess that's why you have the heterosexual drag queens. They just want to dress up, or some men who are, like, I guess considered elite, who have like to dress up in lingerie, women's lingerie and pantyhose because they're like being themselves, but they have to hide it.
Oh yes, it is. Well, yeah, your world's the only one that has restrictions. You're now eventually slowly removing those restrictions. But yes, you restrict yourself quite often. It is quite humorous to see it, and also quite horrifying to see how humans give away their power so easily. But it is quite understandable because you're forced to, by culture-wise. You dress up like what is it? SpongeBob, spare whatever pants. And you go to work like that. I don't think it'd be on other worlds it'd be accepted. Here, not so much.
Oh yeah, or there's the I don't know if it's passed yet, but there was the fad of men dressed like My Little Ponies. They were called bronies. The whole thing like that going on, like men in touch with their feminine side, and they wanted to dress like pretty pink uniforms.
Nothing wrong with that. That it raises your vibration, whatever it is that you are connecting to. In your world, says that's a no-no, so it makes things more complicated. The more you connect to what you feel is right for you, your vibration is, you are like a firework. But as you can tell, it is not happening on this level. Not yet. It is not ready. It is still under much mind control, as you can tell. If there's not one mind control is working, they have several others in the back room to activate.
Or some working kind of against other programs to a degree, because
Yes.
you have kind of like an enlightenment, for lack of better words, of people, I guess, openly coming out and, you know, transitioning to other sexes and stuff, and being out about this. But then there's this other kind of belief that you're being conditioned to like androgyny or something, and that it's supposedly another way of a population control, where you have just examples of these celebrities, kids like Angelina Jolie's kid, you know, and her approving of a sex change at the age of 7, and this children wearing like, I guess, opposite attire, long dresses with flowers when you're a boy, and I don't know, that's spreading out. So it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, but understand, yes, in your lovely reality, it is difficult to be these things, and many are quite miserable, but they still do it, which is quite brave of them. It's like no matter what, and they come into this world well aware of they have a choice, and they can always reject it, but most of them jump right onto it. Whereas they might not last very long depending on what they can handle. But they are making room for the future. As difficult it is to be what you want to be. Yes, this world, your elite system, they do this all the time. They dress up. They do all these things. But are they going to allow your humans to do it? Not at all. But they do recognize the bravery of it, but still make it quite difficult for them to live in this world. They will continue to do that. Your South America is actually a lot easier, and other parts of your world have become easier, but still there are many places it is not possible. Your ISIS is getting quite interesting. They are, yes, lower vibrational beings controlled by reptilians. They are, you can say this is a galactic update to some degree. They are maneuvering, trying to take over the world in their way. They are like old Western style gangsters, you can say, but mercenaries quite a bit. Most of them are easy to brainwash. No different than your Americans in many ways, but depending on their moral system. The moral system is very low with their ISIS. But as for America, we do not see them. They are in your America, yes, but they're not told to act. They do act slowly in small areas, but nothing to worry about. It might have some that just go big. I believe you have seen some act already. They have gone beyond their orders. They were not supposed to do what they were supposed to stand down from what we are seeing.
Like there's like little sleeper cells and just like your random, I guess, lone gunman type.
You're either ones that just slap their name ISIS and they just go ahead and do whatever they want. Those are the ones that you don't have much control over.
That's very interesting. So how much of an increase do you think that there's going to be here in the United States? But you did say that they were basically stand down.
Yes, I do not see, one moment. Understand your elite system is very much in control of their money system. Of course, that's not going to be easily seen. There is front company after front after front. So they don't know exactly where their funding is coming from completely. They don't really care either. So whoever is fueling this, their machine, are keeping it quiet for a while to induce fear, but do it in a way where it's not seen by our public. At least in your Americas at this time. In areas where they are active, they are allowed to, is free reign for the moment. But other beings feel like they have gone too far, which they have done that many times already.
Yeah, and just different examples and like that. So do you think the way it goes is kind of like your elites basically plan this long-term, like ISIS evolved throughout the wars, and they're just kind of like the money's coming through a trickle-down effect, and then they get to certain people eventually, you know, that seem to have a lot of money and kind of fund these things so we can have, I guess, these terrorist acts like filmed on HD. It's just a limited amounts of freaking ammo in places where there's just a bunch of poor people. Like, where are they getting the ammo?
Well, yes, it is a game to the elites who can visualize those of the wealthy. Just, this is their game. And their game is humanity. Humanity has not quite wakened up to that. That humanity is being played constantly. What can you do? Well, first off, you can become at least aware of it, when many turn the other eye. Now, your Americas is mostly closed on this, but other places in the world that's more aware of this. Americas is mostly. But there are other, it's just that it's not understood quite enough to how to calm this down, much has to be done on the morals of humanity to become more positive with each other, which is quite difficult because so many have been programmed for so long. How do you rid of all of that and become more loving to everyone is quite difficult.
It's like years of divisions and wrongdoings being done and, things not made right and whatever those things are just never like smoothed over in any kind of way.
What we can say from the MIB's perspective, and understand we've had many conversations before connecting here, is that how do I explain this? The mask is coming off, meaning your elites are becoming more daring and showing themselves and realizing humanity is not going to give a damn. But humanity's not going to know what to point the finger at because it's going to be out in their face, but still they're not going to quite understand it. Maybe your musicians that have symbolism in their music videos is the same thing, but more in places. I can't go into detail, but they're going to start making themselves because they have to. If they want to make a change, they have to make these things public as part of their Masonic religion. They have to make it happen. They have to tell everyone they're going to do it, and then they can do it. They have enough guts to tell everyone. It's like you're going to go go ask this girl out. You got to tell everyone before you go ahead and do it. It's something like similar to the same thing.
It's like predictive programming, but we have to figure it out.
Yes, it is. It is just like your MIB movies, your Jurassic Park that is telling your world something. I'm not going to go into detail on that. That's not. I can't go.
Well, how about the Family Guy and The Simpsons? And
yes, that is just mocking humanity.
You look at something from 5 years ago, it's basically telling you what happens 5 years later.
Yes, that is not. Some of that is in there. Some of it got lucky. Some of it is yes.
9 o'clock.
One moment. They are part of the system. Yes, they are. I can't go into details how that works exactly, but yes, that is some of it. Some of it they got lucky on, and some of it was programmed. Yes.
Well, let's look. Use Paul Walker's death as an example. He died in a Porsche. Like 2 weeks before that, he died on The Family Guy in a Porsche. And then in that movie, The Skulls, he died in a Porsche.
Yes, those I can't go. We are not allowed to go into that. That is a heavy Illuminati program that we can't get involved with.
Okay.
It was I can say this, it was a sacrifice, yes.
Yes, and then they have a numerology thing to it because he died at 40, and something important is around the age of 40 as well.
Exactly, yes.
So.
It was everything was planned, everything was, yes, your Simpsons is used as more of a tool of programming than it is for entertainment. It might be seen as entertainment, but it was never in the beginning seen as that, but it turned into it. It became popular with the people, so it's like, why not it is not as entertaining as it used to be, but still many are, because there's many things involved with it to keep those seduced by it, let's put it that way.
And it's interesting because a lot of people who are your, I guess, awakened community and conspiracy they look back at that and they say, oh, dang, you know.
Also, your Boston bombing also had certain things in there, and Family Guy also. Now, the creator of that had nothing to do with it, but there is other individuals that are involved with it made that happen. Oh, yes. And they're not going to make themselves known of who is doing this. It just happened. That's all. That's just the way it is. Just, we just got lucky this time. That's all. They're never going to say how this is all planned out.
It's for us to figure out.
Yes, it is a game to them, and humans are the ones being played. But for them anger is not going to bring you answers. Positivity, difficult to connect to because there must be much anger. You realize they're being played. Meditation is your answer, but many are difficult to find that very not part of their religion to do so, or how to do it. So it is.
Deprogramming.
We can tell you.
Away from the televisions and things like that, and distractions, and sit with our thoughts.
We can tell you this: that certain individuals are starting to be able to hear their guides more clearly over time. It is becoming more. Your Earth, as you become more of in a spiritual direction, many will start to hear and feel their guides more closely as you go into this spiritual environment. You clear out your chakras, you empty out the programming, you desensitize, you deprogram yourself, let's put it that way. And that's where you can start seeing your MIBs, your reptilians, and all that eventually, but your guides are most important. It's not important to see alien people walking around. It's still a Earth world, so you just got to get used to humans.
Yes, humans are not in the physical realm.
Yes, many do want to go on ship. We find that fascinating. Good luck with that one.
There's some people who think they're going to get picked up any second now and go to like New Earth, wherever that is.
Not with us around. That is made sure that they will never be able to do that to their. Understand your shadow government. We are your shadow government. And that is definitely highly enforced to not allow this to happen. It is because that your government does fear that your humans leaving your planet. They do not. If it was another world, sure, but not this one, because they own humanity, as you can tell. And let's put it this way: if your voting numbers are very low right now, if most of humanity became more,
aware of what they don't want,
outnumber the majority, of opposing this, then that'd be a different story. That's not happening right now. It's only a small amount. The small amount's not enough to make it happen. And your aliens will not risk themselves, because understand that if they allow humans on their ships, which some have done it, your canines have done it, Palladians have done it, I can give you a list. And we've been causing, I can't go into that, but they're not allowed to do, and some still do it, but in small numbers. So we monitor who leaves the Earth and who does not. It's how hard is it to see one leave? It's not that hard, especially when you see an activity around one individual. But still, there's some places we can't interact with, so they get lucky. But
what about with the Galactic Federation of Light?
What about them? They're off. I mean, they have limits here, but they're off limits. Like, they can get to Earth, but they can't take humans, and they can influence positive their teachings. That's why channeling's here. That's why I'm here, to show you different perspectives, teachings. That's fine, because humanity, if you're going to allow humans, going to allow this to come through, sure. Most people won't believe it. That's the idea behind it. Most people won't believe it. So we're just going to say, go right ahead. Everybody think you're freaking nuts. Go right ahead. See if anybody's going to believe that. Because now, if you had an actual gray or all right, they're a pain in the ass. But if you had a gray or your Hawaiian people, that would be interesting. That's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
We can, that's not going to happen, but we can allow them to, we're not going to let them do it. But that is what a lot of these meetings are about, is for aliens to communicate with humans, like on video. That's in the works. That's a possibility. On video, that's a possibility. As for like holding an alien's hand, you know, taking an alien to the prom, not happening. But you can take a spiritual one with you, you know, in a higher density. Go right ahead. If I think you're nuts, but go right ahead. You can't. But video is interesting. Like video, like an alien on video is a possibility. Obviously, you've seen them online already of ships, and most of those have not been taken down. Most of those are up. So we have our lenient areas where it's like, most people aren't going to believe this anyway, so let them have their...
And it's like hard to control. Like how many like uploads of aliens showing up in South America are you going to take down? You know, it's just like it's endless. The millions of people who share it. And
so you can see this is where some of your aliens are. Obviously, they can't come into your world and go to Kmart and get themselves a video camera and just, you know, do a YouTube video. But it's getting interesting. That's all we can say. But that is allowed. You'd be surprised. Connecting with humans, not allowed. As for physical, but actually video footage of a alien done by human, mostly not done by alien, maybe, but that's becoming, but we realize humans aren't going to believe any of that. They just think somebody's dressed up in some messed up costume.
And that's how a lot of the elites get away with the stuff that they do, because they trust that humanity is just going to shrug it off and call it crazy.
They'll make a movie about it and debunk it. Now, it's interesting that there is a, what is it, from Earth, people from Earth? Is that what you call it?
Earthlings?
That television show?
Oh.
Who I'm speaking of?
I stopped watching television like a couple years ago.
It is a new television show that is out. It's talking about tall blondes and grays.
Oh.
Disconnected from that at this moment? You know what I'm speaking of? There's a reason why that's allowed to be broadcasted. There is yes, that's a joke, but small disclosure, there is a reason why that is, certain things are being allowed. It is, I can't go into it. One moment. They're playing, one moment. What can I say? I can't.
Like a show on TBS where there was this group talking about reptilians and things like that. Like
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
That's more than I can bear either. But it is getting, they're parodizing it. They're making it into a parody right now because they realize humans aren't going to, but it is going to eventually become serious as we are becoming known. But humans are still not ready. But we realize that humans are eventually going to figure it out, but no time soon. One moment. There's the reason that is allowed to be broadcasted at this time is
to entertain the interest groups. Get people to watch TV again who don't watch TV.
It is predictive programming.
Yeah.
It is something I can't go into, but there's a reason for it. It's not for entertainment purposes. There's other plans being done at this time. I can't go into that.
I'll be watching the show for clues.
There's something there. That's all I can say.
So if you were a television and radio journalism student and you were interested in aliens and spirituality, what movie would you make? What would be the theme and the plot?
Well, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is similar to what somewhat I would go by as a guideline. E.T. is G's for what is that? It's some kind of, that's a humanoid joke. But as for what I would, It would. It would be more like your tall blondes living among humans.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Not like your, was it Alien Nation? Not like that. They look too weird. But if you have your Nordics just living among you all, which they already are, and just observing and doing their thing. Y'all do it all the time. I don't want to mention them. I don't want to give them any credit. Yeah, I can't do that.
So kind of like walking amongst us and then just kind of hashing things out at home and just talking about like what they observed and their concern about humanity and things like that. What government entity they talk to.
They come and go. They come, they mingle, they leave. They're very quick about it. Because they do realize they will be noticed because they are kind of alien looking. Because they don't look like, I can't go into details of that, but
they're smooth enough to not be too noticed because we do have albino people or people who are very light-skinned genetically.
Your Hollywood parties, they have visited there often.
Oh.
Wherever you have your elitist kind of public parties, they do appear here and there.
Huh.
It is like your metrosexual type of beings. Some of them going that way they're not so noticed. They're noticed by their clothing and not by what they look. If their clothing is outlandish, that way the way they look is outlandish, it kind of blends into it. It blends in a little bit easier. Some of your metrosexual energies come from them. You'd be surprised. It just so that you're not noticing how weird they look, you're looking at their clothing. And you're just,
they're too perfect.
It's a package of weird, yes.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, they are. We are allowed to talk about them. Others we're not allowed to talk about.
What would be a good example of a tall, white, energy human? Like, if you were going to point out a celebrity who would be an example, not to say that they are, but like, let's say their energies lend themselves to a tall, white spot.
What is it? Reword your question a little bit. You said the energy of a tall. Say that again.
So, like, which one of our celebrities or actors or actresses would you say lend their energies or get their energies from? Good example.
You might find it strange that Halle Berry is one.
Mm-hmm. It's always perfect.
Yes. That's the one we want to put our name on right now. Others, we're not going to mention. Interesting enough, one moment. Your Trump have a lot of tall white energy, actually.
And his offspring, too. They're all perfect looking.
Yeah, to a degree, yes.
Yeah, Ivanka is like, she looks like Barbie.
Exactly, yes. That is your tall white. Your Hillary Clinton's more reptilian, more Syrian, reptilian, Anunnaki, mostly Syrian, reptilian. A mix of old and some Yael. The daughter has a lot of Yael, actually. Following in family's footsteps of Yael, wanted to be born in this family to
soften things up.
Something like that, kind of. That's not always the case, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Behind closed doors is a different story.
Yeah.
The public version is one version, and behind doors is another.
Just can't tell with her at all. It's just kind of ambiguous.
That is the Yael energies. The strange lookingness of her also is very Yael. Yael sometimes have to look odd. It's just because that's the way they are. They like that odd looking look. It is just their thing.
I think she grew into her looks because
Yes.
the Clintons first came into office. Ugh.
Yes, it was, but that was actually a very Yale. There's a Yale reasoning behind it. She knew exactly what she was getting into,
Yeah.
and there's just how do I word this? It's like it. The body was vibrationally accurate for her to. She had to add her own little spin to it to accurately inhabit that body, and so it had to be actually morphed slightly. It happens a lot. That's why she looks the way she would look a lot differently if it was someone else. Sometimes souls, when they come into bodies, they look strange. Is not to call them strange, but they look differently than everyone else is because that's the energy of the soul. It has a way of
for humanity too,
morphs it. You can say it morphs the body into a certain degree. It's like, this is where I come from. I look reptilian because that's where I come from. If I look like an insectoid, gives you kind of a wink, nod to humanity.
Yeah, a lot of people who are into the conspiracy theories, they like to point out the reptilian-looking, I guess, celebrities or governmental peoples. Like, I think the royal family for them is a good example of people.
Yes, that is very Yale within that family. Perfect family, for the most part. A lot of that is a Nordic energy within them also to keep it in a perfect looking, kind of like People magazine type of look. They made sure that was going to be, so they were kind of like designer babies to a certain degree, alien version and human to a certain degree. So they all look kind of the same to a certain, that was all done genetically. They knew exactly what they were doing there. Much of it has the Nordic energies there, but a lot of it is yellow and definitely reptilian. And Anunnaki, a very different type of version of Anunnaki, a type of blood wine that is very rare, of course.
That's very interesting.
Which makes them the royal family, of course.
Speaking of designer babies, there's a lot of talk around Prince William's
Yes.
recent child birth. Yes, they think that that's either his brother's son or just a genetically a GMO baby, or just a lot of questions about that child.
I am told not to speak on that, but not to say what you're connecting to is incorrect, though. There is a lot there that is not being spoken about. A lot of backdoor relationships that shouldn't be happening, to give you an idea. So, give you an idea of the weirdness of that family. But nothing too weird in that family, though. To anyone else, yes. Just to give you some hints.
Not anything that's not any more weird than what we already know.
Than what you already know, exactly, without me going in. I cannot go into those details. I'm not even allowed to even speak on it, but
I understand.
But there is genetic looks that will look, as the child ages, look very bizarre. Such as Diana and her children look kind of odd. Like from different fathers, possibly. But that's not for me to go into.
We'll leave that one alone then.
Yes.
So, but a lot of our presidents come from that bloodline.
Yes.
And so looking, I guess if we're going to look back, I could see some of the similarities, and I could see kind of like a reptilian look in just the Bush
family. Yes, that is from your royal family. Your royal family never lost the war in 18 whatever it was. to mock your wars. Yes, your British have always had influence on this country. They might have publicly said they lost the war, but that was just to give you an idea of freedom. But your British is very much involved with this country and always will be, and they do have their bloodline here, which is your presidential bloodline. Your Obama is also a part of it. Also, as you know, a lot of, yes, they're all connected, aren't they? I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think your Trump is part of it, but everyone else is. They have to throw in a
oddball every now.
Yeah, they have to throw in a runt every once in a while.
Yeah, I understand President Van Buren was like the only one that was not bloodline so far.
Yes, there's another one, but it's not important. Jackson was not one.
Very. I can see the obvious, I guess, ways that the royal family lends itself to us, because in Virginia, for example, we have Elizabethtown and we have Prince William County and like that. So obvious.
When they go into your President Jackson, those historians, yes, he was a big pain in the ass, and he was a real president. He was actually more than your Washington. That was mostly part of your bloodline situation to a degree. He had some. Jackson did not. He was a pain in the ass. Many agendas were halted because of him. They didn't think he was going to be like that. They thought they could control him. That wasn't the case. And of course, the later presidents they eventually do have control over, and it just got stronger and stronger because Kennedy was very much like your Jackson. Yes, he's similar to your Lincoln, but only in certain ways. But he's more similar to your Jackson. Jackson almost got assassinated also, but got away with it. Got away from being assassinated. Kennedy wasn't so lucky. But they were very much the same soul in many ways.
Yeah, because President Jackson did a lot of damage. I mean, they all did, but just speaking of the indigenous tribes, continuation of the bloodshed, inhumane treatment.
The Roots did not like him. They tried to poison him. They tried many things, and all of it failed. He was very wise and knew exactly what he was getting. He was in a war zone, but he survived. He does not remember a lot of it during his time. It was beyond his thinking what was going on. It's like, is this truly happening? Are they really trying to kill me all the time? Yes. And these are not just your regular folks. These are people in power. So, but he had those in power that were protecting him also. It was a mess.
So that's very interesting, because it sounds like he had the impression that there was something bigger than himself that was trying to go after him, but he somehow got out of it. He was just kind of lucked out.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
His heart was in the right place. Kennedy was another story of understand he could have gotten out of that situation, and he did not. He knew it was inevitable for him. No matter where he hid. It was a different time also. During Jackson's time, it was different. Now you have cameras everywhere, and it's just ridiculous. So it's like there's nowhere to go. During Jackson's time, it was a little bit, of course, then also, but he had it was just a different type of protection. Around Kennedy, it was almost like he was ready to be sacrificed. Another way to let America know.
Yes, I understand he knew what was going to happen, and it's like he allowed it to happen.
Exactly.
Lesson to humanity.
Yes, humanity can to know what was going on, that you are being duped, basically. And of course, some are aware and some are not. Nothing new there.
It's funny because we even have movies about this, and then look at what happened to his son, because his son came out.
Yes.
Yes. Trying to come out about the stuff, and they shut him down.
Yes, they did. Yes. Oh, yes. He was well aware. The family is well aware, and many of others have been quieted down also. I believe it was if I remember, Ted Kennedy. He was the only one that didn't have a big mouth.
Yeah.
He's the only one that shut up. Everyone else did not do that.
Bobby, was it Bobby? He was he sacrificed in connection with something or just?
Yes, he was. Yes, a lot of sexual situations are around him. Yes.
Oh yeah, and there's a Marilyn Monroe situation.
Oh yes.
Like that.
That was all Illuminati. That was all. They were all in bed with it. It was quite nasty. Your Clintons are similar, but not as good at hiding it. Of course, the Kennedys weren't good at hiding it either, but your Clintons were kind of a mess to begin with. And in many ways, you realize they don't really care that people know. It's like, what do you care? You're going to try to elect mommy over here, and nobody cares. There's to elect her no matter what. You know?
Yeah, it's very interesting because she's worse off than hubby. She is like actually a lot more.
Yeah, she's been a lot. Oh, yeah, she is like the brain behind the brawn. Yes, he was just a sexual, just another Kennedy. Maybe worse. Worse.
Yeah, worse.
Very worse. But yeah, that was her presidency. She was behind it. He was doing she was working the show. Yeah, she was working the machine behind it.
Oh yeah, she was. There was a whole universal health care thing that she was trying to get started during Clinton's presidency, and then I guess she was made to just kind of go into the shadows or something because I guess that wasn't going over too well.
Yes, it was ahead of its time. Humanity wasn't ready, obviously. It was forced down humans' throat this time. They just didn't care anymore. They just did it whatever they wanted to this time. Yeah,
and then there was the prison, the whole 3 strikes thing. That was something that she pushed as well. And we got like private prisons now and double the population in prison. I mean, like I guess we have over 2 million people in prison now.
More than that, most likely.
It's
more than that. Your healthcare, understand, is not all darkness with that. There is much positive to it. Difficult to see because of the price tag that's on it. But there is much positive, but there is much. It's like if you're going to have this positive, we're going to make it expensive and difficult to connect with. But so they're going to make it so that it is not all negative. It's just the system made it difficult. It could have been a much cheaper, and it was intended to.
Yeah.
But Obama does not have power to do that. He does actually want it to make it cheaper. He has no power to do it. It has been revoked from him. He does not have any. So he had good intentions. I give him that. He did have good intentions, but there's other.
He's the fall guy for it, even though he wanted it to be less expensive for us.
Yes, he was having it. Even connecting to his soul is yes, he wanted it affordable, and it was impossible. So he has to sell it anyway as that, even when it has a $500 a month price tag or whatever it might be. It's still, but some are reaping the benefits of it, but very few. It is and it isn't. But yes, it is part of the game.
And then you just have a lot of people who used to pay for insurance that don't pay for it anymore because it's more expensive.
Yes, they put affordable on there, but it is far from it. But that is part of the joke, isn't it?
I understand there's like a lot of doctors closing their offices now because there's something about the insurance, I guess Obamacare, that's not working.
It's too expensive, I believe, from what I'm gathering by this interview. It is impossible to stay in business for one thing. And that's the idea behind it. It is, yes, it has a lot of good intentions within it, but there's so much, not so much. So if there's anything else, do you have?
No, I don't. Thank you for talking to us, but if you have any closing words, I would appreciate it.
Yes, this connection is quite different what we are used to. we are becoming a little bit more easy to work with, and before we were not exactly in that area where we're just being a nuisance, and we're trying to be civil to humanity to realize we are. We'll go to more of our details of our background. If we are assembled on different worlds, yes. We are controlled, yes. But we are allowed to speak to humanity. If humanity has an ear open to us, we are allowed to speak in a nice way. Of course, it hasn't always been that way, but to be kind, to be gentle in humanity, to be honest and upfront. Some things we cannot speak of, but we are working on that, of what we can talk about. This is an unusual connection. So we are still getting the oil, figuring this all out. So we are hoping to have a queer connection eventually. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I appreciate the wonderful interview.
Yes. Yes, Emma.
I'm glad that I got the nice end.
Yes, exactly, because we are trying to become. One moment. Of course, there are individuals where we can't always be nice with, but that is part of our ground crew association with your planet. It is our contract on your Earth, the reptilians and other beings, to police this planet of extraterrestrial energies. Yes, to keep the order. Humans from connected to humans connected to aliens, because it is not time yet. When it is time, you will have your aliens, but first, so your whole idea of first contact will have to be channeling or some other form until you get your act together on Earth.
It's more motivation to become more spiritual and connected and more positive, I guess.
Or for some, just call it more positive, less fear-based will help. Oh, that ego is so out of control on this planet, and this is what ego is what's ruining.
And in the spiritual community, there's ego.
Yes.
I'm more spiritual than you. You need to do this way.
Exactly.
Or you're not spiritual.
Yes. Then you go nowhere. Yes, I channel more beings than you, and whatever kind of that does not get you anywhere. You can. So your aliens, it just makes it harder to connect to your aliens that way. It's just more of just enjoy the world, but you got, yes, there's much that needs to be done here. That's okay. All right, I am signing off. This is N.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully get to talk to you again soon.
Yes, we'll have a more queer connection. We will, as I said, this is in the beta, as your Earth calls it, testing. So, all right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you for being here. Welcome back, Ivan.
Like I said, I kept him here for a while. So
he was very nice to me and very informative.
That's good.
Very entertaining.
That's good. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they're getting. I don't know what they're going to do next, but it's all good.
Yeah, he was saying that they're trying to appeal to be the softer side of Sears, I guess.
Interesting. There's like a group of them here. They're just observing and listening.
What do they think?
Yeah, they say they're going to improve on connection and be more peaceful. Well, they did pretty good here, I think. More.
Do they like the interview stir?
Yeah, they'll try to be more informative. They have restrictions on what they can say, but they're trying to work around that stuff. It's just they have stuff that the aliens can't talk about because they're closer to us than the aliens are.
Yeah.
They're allowed to be here. Aliens are, they're allowed to make themselves known. I mean, they don't, but they can. you know, but they have no purpose of showing. I mean, they can, so they've been already. So they have more.
A question. They're the easiest person connection to make. Hey, MIB, what do you think of this?
Exactly. So it is. It's helping. It seems like it is. There's a lot of anger within their group. Also, it's like robotic, but also intimidation to humans or something like that. They intimidate humans, and a lot of meanness with them because they have to be, because they can't, you know, you didn't see this, and
Their job.
humans are a pain in the ass, so you have to be kind of hard on them to some
Kind of like police.
Yeah. So it's like they have a lot of clearing out to do, and this is helping, and it helps others because they can connect to stuff that aliens are not allowed to talk about to a certain degree. So there's restrictions on everything. So, but they seem to have more lenience from what I'm being told. Interesting. Anyway, all right.
All right, Ivan, thank you for being here for another segment of Off the Deep End. And before we close, can you tell my listeners where they can find you?
Oh, yeah, just on ivanteller.com, or you go to YouTube and just search Ivan Teller, and you have t-shirts, you have a webinar. You have to pay to become a member, something $10 a month, and you get invited twice a week for a webinar, and we have t-shirts and stuff like that, which you like to purchase, and we have private sessions.
Don't forget about the apps.
Oh yeah, you have a mobile app for iOS, for iPhone and Android. To search Ivan Teller, you can get the. Hopefully, if I updated the new schedule for the month, I don't think I updated that yet, actually. So yeah, the webinar schedule is on there, and the YouTube videos are there. So.
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good.
Right, Ivan, thank you for being here, and thank you to my listeners for listening to another installment of Off the End. See you soon.